and try again.
You're listening to 420radio.ca, Canadian Cannabis Radio.
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is not much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiba grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Hello.
baby.
We are back, and we have an old voice. Very old voice. He's very old. He's so old.
Oh,
ancient.
my God.
He's ancient.
And a little torched.
And dusty. He's got dust
A
on him.
little torch. Ow. Holy. Ouch. Ouch. That hurts. I know how that feels, Chris. My whole right leg's burned, so I know how that feels.
Oh, shut up, Kim.
You guys are knocking futz.
Yeah. We haven't changed it all
burning
since
it's
you
no
left,
joke.
Chris. So tonight we're going to chat with our old friend Chris Backer. He's also out there in Nova Scotia out there where they say bye and
Whoa. No, that's Newfoundland bye.
it's out that way, eh?
If you want bye, you pass me by to get to bye.
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 See, Newfoundland has their own total different vocabulary. They don't have H's in their alphabet and things like that.
And threes are trees.
Out here we got no boots. How about it?
So it's like Lard, Thunder, and Jesus.
Lord Tunner and Jesus bye.
Not Lord, it's Lard. It's Lard, Thunder.
My buddy's from there, and he used to just walk around the fucking house. I would say so many stupid things. So how you doing, Chris?
Good. Staying busy. How about you guys?
You know.
Story of my life.
Yeah, hey, Marcel.
Yeah. Let's just say it's been a busy week or month
It
or
has.
a few months.
I don't think Marcel wants to see another broom or a mop for a while. You got him working?
Oh, shit. No. We have our inspection coming up this week, so we've been doing major cleaning for the last week or 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. I getcha.
Kind of like being back in the friggin' military. You know?
Yeah.
It's inspection time. Oh, start painting.
Start painting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cover up that rock. Cover it all with paint.
Yeah. Yeah, if it doesn't move, paint it.
That
If
or
it
as
moves,
people come to
get
look
it.
at the house, just blow supers in their face as they come in.
Yeah, exactly. It just hotbox the whole house.
Exactly.
Put a few weed brownies on the counter. Tell them to help
Right.
themselves.
Exactly.
Then tell them the price.
And tell them the price.
We should open our own real estate company, Chris.
Then that's when you drop a bale of weed on them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and as a signing bonus, you buy signing bonus. You buy this house today, we'll throw in a free pound.
That'd be a good deal. You get a lot of people signing.
Oh,
You get
if
the
you ever.
harvested- You get the harvesting garden in the back.
Yeah. Sell them with grow rooms already set up.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, a lot of people would like to buy a house with a grow room already set up and designed for them.
Yeah, would I ever?
Yeah.
But when you're selling the house, the real estate agents don't like seeing that because then your house gets marked on a different level, right? So
Right, but it shouldn't be.
There's
Should be
more
marked on a
in it.
much higher level to begin with. If the realtors were smart, that's who they would target. Other growers.
I mean, because if you had a garden in your house in the basement with peppers and tomatoes and it was all done right, nobody would say anything. But because it was pot, now you get put on a list and your house is looked at differently. It's not valued at the same rate anymore.
Well, you might have mold.
Because
Right.
the other plants.
Because
don't have
the other
mold, right?
plants won't, but you might have mold.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just can't.
they did a study there by the Canadian Homeowners Association that 80% of all new construction in Canada has mold in it already before people put a key in the door. It's
Well,
in
of
the
course.
wood.
How can you
All
build
right.
a house in the rain and then wrap it in Tyvek?
The pharmacist has put a request in,
Uh-oh.
God.
Some Elvis?
and so it's because he's in Vegas. That's why he's not here tonight.
All
So
right.
since he's in Vegas, he would like for us to play some music for him of Vegas theme, such
Okay,
as
so now I'm gonna-
Elvis
yes, or
Sinatra.
Okay, so I'm going
But
to.
earlier he said something shitty since he can't listen.
Well, I'm going to compromise and put on some Dred Zeppelin.
Well, that would work. Somebody else wants
can you even
Space
spell
Trucking
compromise?
from Deep Purple, and When the Blind Man Cries.
Can you
Deep
even
Purple.
spell compromise? Holy cow. That's nothing
No.
like compromise.
What was
You got a Q in there and everything.
Compromise?
Compromise with a Q.
Compromise.
Where does the Q go? I'm trying to think how you could even spell it with a Q. All right. So the pharmacist would like Elvis or Sinatra. Somebody else wants Space Trucking, which I agree with because I do like Space Trucking. Al probably doesn't know what Space Trucking is, so.
Sure, I can hear the song in my head.
Oh, can you?
I just can't remember who sings it.
Deep Purple.
This is right.
Deep
yes.
Purple, yeah.
Yeah, I like Deep Purple.
All right.
I was
So,
doing even Smoke on the Water.
First, some Dred Zeppelin later. And we're not doing songs right now, but we'll put some Dred Zeppelin in there for.
We just need something entertaining for the masses.
For the masses.
All right.
Masses, yes.
So I disagree with the pharmacist and his selection of Elvis or Sinatra.
Well, this is
but
why I suggest Dred Zeppelin.
Geez, Vegas team, why not Celine Dion?
Because,
Go for it, Al.
because we're Canadian. No.
Thank God. Oh, thank God.
Sorry, Chris.
I was over here holding my breath, waiting to see what was going to happen.
We should have a Canadian music night. Get all of the old ones like Anne Murray and
Well,
Rita
if
McNeil.
July 1st would fall on a frickin' Friday.
Does it?
No, if it did.
Oh, what if it does?
We'll see if it does.
I am.
Google.
July 1st is falling on a Wednesday. Sorry.
Well, we could do the show on a Wednesday one week then.
All right. And why July 1st?
What am I looking for? Deep Purple.
I have no idea.
Deep Purple.
Papers.
And what was the other one?
Space Trucking, Deep Purple. When a Blind Man Cries by Deep Purple.
I have.
And,
how about Women from Tokyo? Deep Purple.
And Alice Cooper's Ballad of Dwight Fry. I don't know who Grateful Newbie is, but I do like his choice of music.
Don't have Alice Cooper that song. I have.
You know who that is,
Alicia
Marcel.
Keys.
That's what I thought it was. He's got a good taste in music.
Of course he does. He's a metalhead.
That's Dale, dude.
Yeah.
He's been sitting
Dale
in there all
Dale
afternoon.
should change his name.
He doesn't know how because he's a little,
Oh,
All right, so Smoke on the Water or Women from Tokyo?
that's our choices?
For the two I have, I can download it, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, I'd take Smoke on the Water.
Well, hold on. Deep
Purple.
Purple. And what's the name of the song?
Space Trucking?
Oh, yes, okay.
How's that short-term memory?
Gone.
Where am I? How did I get here? Where am I? What am I doing in this handbasket? Why is it so hot?
Although another good one, since somebody just coughed, would be "Sweet Leaf" by
Have that.
Black Sabbath.
Have that. Yes, I do.
I mean, that's a good Cannabis song. So Darcy doesn't know how to use the chat room either or make his own name.
No, I don't.
Is this the one you wanted?
Hey, that's a good song. I thought we were saving it for later.
We are.
Well, then what are you playing for?
I'm not. I'm making sure it's right. That's all.
That's right.
Okay.
It's a long song.
It is a long song. It's 4 minutes and 52 seconds. And this is the complete song. Oops, it started.
Hey,
Sorry.
that's a good break. That I could go pee, maybe have a sandwich. Get a couple drinks.
Darcy could go have a box of craft dinner.
Sandwich, Marcel.
No, I'm not stopping for a sandwich. I stopped at Masstown Butcher Shop on the way home.
Oh, you fucker. Did you get some dry aged beef?
I got some dry aged prime rib.
Oh, I love that.
What can I ask? What
Is
that
it pink?
cost?
No.
Was it more than 50 and less than 100?
I'd rather not say.
God damn it.
Who's squeaking? Darcy?
Let's just say this is not cheap meat.
No, I know it's not. That's why I was wondering. I'd like to try it, but
It's 40. It's 45-day dry aged.
I just can't justify paying like $80-$90 for like a steak.
I saw a tomahawk steak there for $179.
See, I can't justify paying that for a steak.
That's not dry aged.
I know, but still, I still can't justify paying that for a steak.
In the dry age rack, they've got a whole loin in there already trimmed for tomahawk steaks, and I'm guessing that those would be $400 steaks.
Yeah,
Wow.
when I can go out and shoot a deer. And
I'd pay $400 for a hunting trip to get the deer to go be able to have the steak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you got to realize this is a tomahawk steak that would actually be more like a roast. So you might as well call it a prime rib roast to feed 6 people.
You're financing somebody else's hunting excursion.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Screw
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
I'll pay for it. Go with somebody else and get it myself.
Yeah.
But see, Darcy and I know somebody that goes in and buys the whole loin and leaves it in the dry ager for another 40 days or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he drops some serious cash when he buys his meat.
Mm.
It tastes some fucking good though.
It does taste good.
I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience for it. I want it now.
Well, no, you buy it already aged. Don't age it yourself. You need aging meat yourself is not the most pleasant thing to do.
I think it'd be risky if you don't know what you're doing.
Well, you've got to have proper temperature and proper humidity for the entire time.
That's what I'm saying. And the majors aren't cheap.
No, and then you got to go in and cut off all of the black, all the rotten stuff from on the sides and around it. So you got to cut all the black off before you even start thinking about eating it.
Yeah, well, that's it too.
So you end up losing a lot of meat, which is another reason why it's a lot more expensive. But when you cook it, it's friggin' delicious.
I know it is.
You're making me hungry, and we're not talking about cannabis.
Oh yeah, you don't even need cannabis on this meat. It's so good.
You could base it in cannabis oil if you want to.
This is a butcher shop that has Wagyu and Kobe and all kinds of really nice meat.
I want to start making those fucking delicious pieces of cake and pies and stuff like that I've been posting. There's a lot of them.
Why not?
Yeah,
You got a kitchen? Come on there, Betty Crocker, get bacon.
I got a magic butter machine.
Yeah. I'm building ice cream tomorrow, I think.
Building ice cream?
Yeah. I call it building ice cream because it's moon mist, and I literally am building it. So
I went to one of the only surviving Baskin-Robbins in the city of Toronto the other day, last weekend, and I had some chocolate I had 1 scoop of chocolate, and then on top of that was a scoop of rainbow sherbet.
Why not orange?
They didn't have fucking orange.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I usually get is orange and chocolate.
I love orange sherbet on good chocolate ice cream.
Yeah, even a dark chocolate, or even a Rocky Road now and then.
No, because I'm not a big marshmallow fan.
Well, if I was going to say if a chick said, "What are your favorite flavors of ice cream?" I'd be like,
That's
orange
an easy
sherbet,
answer. The ones I
chocolate
make.
ice cream. But orange sherbet is not an ice cream; it's a sherbet, and it's
Right.
and then you can get what is the?
It's harder to medicate.
What is that Italian ice called?
Gelato.
Gelato. Yeah, and that is kind of in between a sherbet and an ice cream.
No.
No. Oh.
No. Gelato has a much higher fat content than ice cream. Baskin-Robbins of ice creams, Baskin-Robbins probably has the highest fat content. Gelato's is creamier with a lot more fat, and then my ice cream actually has more fat than all of them.
Yes.
Regardless, the sherbets, I love the sherbets.
Oh, sherbets are awesome.
That's why
Because-
your ice cream works so well, Marcel, because of the high fat content.
Yeah, that's the whole reason why I make it that way.
Also works better with the cannabinoids.
That's exactly it.
I
Yeah.
love the way you say that, Chris.
I love how he says it, yeah.
Every time I hear you talking, you do an interview or whatever, when you say cannabinoids, I'm like, that's Chris.
Oh, fuck off. You guys are mean.
Hey, you accepted the invite. So
You accepted the invite.
Listen, buddy. I hear you're up to some new tricks and some tricks that I've been trying to do for the last year and a half. Basically, you're going to be trying to do a cannabis substitution project, right?
Absolutely. I've followed what Neil's been doing out west for a while,
Me as well. Yep.
And Neil Magnuson, and he's been big supporter of what he's been doing. I've been kind of following it for a while, so it's been something that I've thought about, and I kind of bit the bullet. It's one of those things, ain't nothing to it but to do it. So I just kind of jumped in and started, just day before yesterday, and been making phone calls and making capsules and putting things together.
Well,
and
I know that you're in a smaller area, Chris, but just be prepared, because when the last day that we did Hope, we had 150 people in line. Okay?
Yeah, I know. All I can do is
I know that
collect as much as I can up until I put the packs together and put them out till they're gone, and that's that, right?
Chris has upwards of 250, and he's doing it 2 days a week. Or not Chris, Neil. So,
absolutely, and he was saying there's other parts of BC they get 1,200 people a day in there.
No doubt.
So I mean, it's something that's needed. It's something that if I can put it together, and I'm starting to get volunteers. Like I said, I just put it together fast, and it's just a matter of getting in and making it happen. It'll either fly or it'll fail, one or the other. So I'll give it all I got, and that's all I can do.
Yeah, and it was really, really hard for me to walk away from that, because I literally been standing on that fucking corner for a year.
I can imagine. Yeah,
so,
it's
and
it's a powerful thing when you start helping people like this. I've helped people, make with oil and for cancer and stuff, but it's
to have face-to-face contact with somebody who has walked an hour and a half from the ravine where they have a tent.
Yeah.
Okay. And to talk to them. Some of these people don't talk to anybody because most of them are destitute, or have some illnesses where people don't want them around, whatever. And so they're loners, and they come in and they wait in line, and they get even a doobie and a cookie. Sometimes that's all we had.
Yeah, well, and that's some of the fears that I've got going into this is, am I going to be able to pull enough together? I've been sitting here making capsules like crazy, and kind of trying to get prepared so I can have enough to kind of pass out to. Like I said, I figure I'm going to have to go between 100 and 150 care packages the first time just to see how it goes, right? So,
well, we were
up to do that.
We were up to 120, 100, 120, 150 or so, and I mean, I would go in at noon and start rolling doobies, and I'd have to roll, 200 doobies, just to, have a little extra, because you hand them out, stuff like that. But it's a lot to ask people who are disabled that don't have hand function as well as they should to come in and roll doobies and make caps, and you know this. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I only see out of one eye. Making those capsules is kind of. I use the number 4 still, the little tiny ones. I hate when people pass me a great big horse pill. So I like the little tiny ones. So, but yeah, you fill those things. It's one at a time. It's obnoxious. But I do it with a smile on my face because you know that it's going to help and it's better.
Sure.
It's the stories that you're going to hear as well. I mean, you hear stories already, but the stories are different. That people are grateful even for a doobie and a cookie once a week, literally. So our philosophy, which was developed very quickly with Hope, was if you can have one day of solace where you don't have to, stress as much because you've got a little bit of relief from pain or slowing down or whatever it is.
Wait, is Susan Dillman with you? Chris?
Yeah, why?
Oh.
You smack her.
Is she making comments?
No, she posted pictures.
Oh.
Yeah, she went out and checked the Amish Christmas lights.
Oh, Christmas. You guys are nuts.
It's a whole bunch of black pictures. All right, it's been a long fucking week. I'm tired.
Dale has
tired.
Dale has changed his name to the neighbor.
I saw that.
That's fucking hilarious. Can you see in Dale's window, Darcy?
He doesn't want to say that out loud because Dale will close the curtains.
Not quite. Well, if I was on my deck, I can see the side of the house. There's no windows on that side of the house.
I was thinking McDonald's straw and a roll of toilet paper is what I was thinking.
Straw and a roll of toilet paper.
He's copying Lenny because Lenny put the pharmacist, so he's the neighbor.
The neighbor.
Meanwhile, Dale can see completely into Darcy's windows. Tell Carla to wave at him.
Well, he's a real great friend. If he could see over at Darcy's, wouldn't he have seen those fuckers ripping him off? Come on, Dale.
Oh, backside of the house.
Don't worry. He was keeping an eye out, but I imagine he was sleeping. So
he was rolling.
Sorry to keep an eye out when you got him closed.
He was rolling a doobie. So who's eager one? Hello,
that's
eager one.
That's my one.
That's Darcy.
Darcy's got in
That's
there,
what I said.
finally.
Darcy figured out how to get in chat room, just can't figure out how to make a name.
Are you on your phone or your computer, Darcy?
I'm talking on my phone, but I just hooked my computer up. I'm glad I'm not talking on it because it's lagging pretty bad tonight. So.
Well, you're probably playing the show. Turn it off.
No, it's not playing.
Oh, okay.
He'll figure it out.
Don't play the show on another computer while you're on the show with us because you will get
echo.
Not just that, you'll start hearing yourself and you'll lose where you're talking.
Yeah, yeah. It starts.
I feel like I'm on mushrooms.
Oh, it's like 5 or 10 second delay. It's not enough to beat Chris. But
It you know what it would sound like? It would sound like something like this.
Which
I could make it worse.
Yeah, don't.
This is
really
Wait.
This is what
Wait.
the
I'm not. What were you saying, Marcel?
I said this is the downside of cannabis.
This is not. What's the downsize? Downside.
Downsize is when you go get the double quarter pounder and it comes out as a McChicken.
You know, I went into fucking
That's just
McDonald's one
disappointing.
day,
Yeah.
and I ordered, and then I got home, and there was no fucking bun.
Huh?
Yeah. No fucking bun, just meat and cheese. 2 patties with a slice of meat in the fucking thing in the box. No buns. None.
They ran out, Al.
I hate when I get a wrong order and then I get home.
Yeah, they ran out on you.
All right, so we got some space trucking loaded up, and I've got a article about the University of Alberta and some research they're doing. This is the 420 Radio Show. We are live right here at 420radio.ca. Booyah.
Tug lightly on this bowl of mine. Well, my screen has seen some better times. Well, my buddy poked a hole, now my weed falls deep inside. Please tug lightly on this bowl of mine.
You're listening to 420radio.ca, Canadian Cannabis Radio. University of Alberta Pharmacology Assistant Professor Anna Taylor works in a lab with biological compounds found in cannabis. Taylor is heading up a research study into the use of cannabinoids to treat chronic pain that patients with multiple sclerosis experience. A new donation is fueling research at the University of Alberta into the use of medical cannabis to treat some incurable diseases. The $300,000 in funding from Atlas Biotechnologies, an Edmonton-based medical cannabis producer, will back studies into the effectiveness of using weed to treat multiple sclerosis, MS, Alzheimer's disease and Huntington's disease. Many people already use cannabis to cope with these diseases, but researchers hope to find some scientific backing for the anecdotal success stories. There isn't solid scientific evidence for most of what people are saying about cannabis, said Russ Suzuki, who is supervising the research in his role as the chair of the U of A's Department of Pharmacology. We have the researchers that know these conditions that are possible targets for where cannabis could be beneficial. The money comes as an unrestricted donation, meaning the U of solely determined what the funds would be used for, without any outside influence. It's different from some funding partnerships between corporations and post-secondary institutions, where the fund giver can decide what researchers study and how their findings are used. The thing that we're conscious of is that we can't have industry driving the research. We have to have our independence, Tsuyuki said. We need to have the freedom to design experiments in ways that are scientifically valid and to get the best answer possible. Along with fellow pharmacology professor Bradley Gare, Ann Taylor is heading up a study into the use of cannabinoids to treat chronic pain that patients with MS experience. She hopes her research can help limit the use of opioids for pain management. We are living in an opioid epidemic. There's a strong need to develop novel, non-addicting therapies to try and manage chronic pain, Taylor said. We're interested in utilizing the utility of cannabis, or cannabinoids, as being one of those types of drugs. The research aims to delve beyond the 2 best-known cannabis compounds, tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, and cannabidiol, CBD, and examine the medical properties of some of the other 500 compounds active in cannabis. Tsuyuki says that he hopes to continue research following the 2 years of funding in order to better determine what compounds of cannabis are most effective and eventually begin clinical trials. Jason Herring, Edmonton Journal.
And we are back. You see, I told you we were coming back. This is the 420 Radio Show. We're live here at someplace. I forgot where we were.
Where am I?
What do you mean
How
you
did I
forgot
get
where
in
we
the
were?
basket?
Who's rolling? Or cooking or making oil or
Making oil.
I know the sound of making oil anywhere.
It's Al.
no, it wasn't me.
I'm
Not
wheeling
this
around
time.
on the floor and it's squeaking, Al. Is that what you're hearing?
Maybe.
Nope.
No, it's somebody's rolling something, or clanking, or somebody's in the background. It was Susan. That's who it is.
It was Susan. Blame it on Susan.
Yeah. Or
She
it
gets
was,
to blame it. I get off the hook.
or Steven.
No, you know what? Stephen and Rosa are in bed, and they're quiet, so don't talk about them. Fuck, Marcel.
Yeah, right. You'll be telling them to shut the fuck up in any minute.
Shut up, Marcel.
Shut up, Al. Shut up, Steven.
So,
Children.
Chris wanted to elaborate on what's going on with his cannabis substitution project. Now, you've been talking with Neil, obviously, and you've gotten permission to use the same name and all that?
Yeah, he goes, I mean, it was either call it something else or just go with what's already been working. He says that, he's happy to share it. He has no rights to it. He didn't put anything on it. So he's happy to have it just go right across the country. And so I'm basically using his information and the way he's doing it. And a couple of the other members there, John's another one of the guys there. He's been sending me all the artwork I need and the clip art to get the Facebook page up and going, and
awesome!
Make some letterhead so I can get some information out to people, both in hard copy and online, and just kind of try and make people aware about what I'm trying to do here, because it's gonna take quite a few volunteers. I mean, Neil's got over 20 volunteers that they sit down, they roll joints, they make edibles. He's got
weekly,
bakers
and, yeah,
deliver
exactly.
stuff, and
I mean, we had to make 80 cookies at first for 40 people, and then that jumped up and doubled, and then that doubled again, and when you've got a handful of people, and they're only coming in once a day, like one day a week, it gets tight.
Absolutely, and what one of the things that we're trying to make people realize here is, I mean, we have a few goals, and that's to make it as easy as possible for people who are at the risk of overdosing on opioids and other street drugs to transition onto cannabis as a substitute. To demonstrate the safety of using cannabis, even high doses of concentrated extract. To demonstrate that cannabis, especially in the form of high-dose edibles, is effective as a substitute for opioids and other street drugs, as well as efficacy for many other health issues. We also want to put pressure on all levels of government to allow for and support access to cannabis for medical purposes, including high-dose edibles, not this 10 milligram stuff. To allow cannabis in all its forms to be provided to anyone on disability for a larger range of medicinal applications. I mean, and we hope to provide care packages of these high-dose edibles we're still working out the location down here. I've talked to one of the treatment facilities. They had a meeting yesterday. I was hoping to have heard something today, but not. But I've told them that it would be nice to be able to do this inside with winter coming. I want to get something going this week before Christmas is just around the corner. I'd like to get something this week and then maybe one more time before Christmas. So it's about finding the spot right now, and the donations are rolling in, the volunteers. A lot of people want to help, so it's just a matter of having it all come together and see where it all lands.
And hopefully the volunteers, that will all snowball into something good.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and this, like, they made some interesting points. Like, I gotta come up with a private location for the safety of all the volunteers, because you don't know how much stuff you're all going to get together as far as product goes, right? So. Yeah,
I mean, what people don't risk, there's a few people doing these programs in the States and here. It's catching on. But what people don't realize is, yes, cannabis is legal. especially if you're a patient. Gifting is all fine and dandy, but still, you're standing in the open, outside, on a street corner, with a lineup of 150 people. It attracts attention. If you don't have a place to bake, if you don't have a place to prepare things that's secure, it becomes a nightmare. It really does. We had some issues. We'll say
1 or 3.
1 or 3.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm expecting a very sharp learning curve.
Yeah, and you know, if you're doing what Neil is doing, it's a proven tactic, or sorry, not a proven tactic, a proven practice. And I mean, he's been doing it, I think, 3-4 years now. And
yeah, you're saying it's been 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and you're genuinely, once you weed out. Now, I know that Neil doesn't ask for ID, and he really doesn't care why you're asking for it or there for it. It's there for you to use if you need it. We ran into issues with Hope where the pothead factor came into play. The kid on the bike coming by, hey, is this where we get the free doobie? You know, you got to fight all of that, right? What are you gonna do as far as age, as far as pothead or medical? Are you just going to do it?
I just plan to do it. The only thing that would affect my decision there at that point will be where I'm being allowed to do it from and what their rules are going to be. Do you know what I mean?
I get you. Yep.
Okay, I mean, because if they're going to afford me the luxury of a facility to operate out of, then I'm going to have to kind of follow their rules. So,
yeah.
If they have any about that, do you know what I mean? Because it's a treatment facility and they have rules that they're supposed to follow, I'm assuming.
We had people from other groups coming to see us. The AIDS Network folks would come over, and these people were the volunteers that would sit there and put the packages together for the needle exchange that they would go out and do the next night. And they became very dependent on us because it was relief for them, right? So
okay.
It was relief for the people who were giving people relief. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I never thought about that. Absolutely. I assumed I'd almost be an extra burden.
Yes and no, I guess. Yes and no. But it will take on a life of its own. And just, you know, I know you'll stand your ground and not take any shit, but, you know, just be prepared for that, buddy. That's all. It's some people can be very rude when they don't get what they want.
Oh, absolutely. I could see that. Yeah, that's part of the community. I mean, it's when you're dealing with sick people, because with Maritimes Unite for Medical Marijuana, I mean, as a group of patients helping patients,
yep.
The first thing that you learn is sick and poor kind of go hand in hand. So it's you wind up with the people in desperate situations, and yep. it's unfortunate, and that's the whole point, is trying to kind of trying to fix some of that, trying to just erase it for a little bit.
So, Chris, you said earlier that you'd reached out to the mayor and others. Did any of them respond back to you?
Nobody's responded back to me at all yet. No.
When was this? Just today?
Yesterday. I sent out some emails yesterday. The one facility that I did speak to, I left a message. She called me back. She got more info, and like I said, she had said that they were going to have a meeting last night, and that she would talk about what I sent them and what I talked to her about who we are. And I was hoping to have heard something today, but it's Friday. I mean,
Yeah.
Things don't move that fast, right?
No, never.
I have no board, so I don't have to worry about that. Everybody else has a board, so everything has to be done through decisions. I wanted to do this, so I just did it. If I had a board, it would have taken me 6 weeks or 6 months to get around to getting it put in place.
Yeah. You'll get a board.
My board will be a big stick. There'll be no boards, man.
You'll see. I fully expect you to have a board, probably 25 people all arguing back and forth, and nothing will ever get done.
No. Won't happen. Won't happen. I hate boards.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Why does it make you boring?
He's on one.
No, it's hard to do anything without. You have to get approval from everybody, and everybody has to make sure that it's okay, and blah 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 blah. It's everything takes too long to get done.
I know it. So, how's about we listen to another tunage?
Holy crap! It's almost 9 o'clock already.
Yeah. I grabbed some Warren Zevon. I hope that's okay. Seeing as it is Friday the 13th, I thought we could all sit here and listen to some werewolves of London. No?
Sure.
Sure. Lay it
Sure.
on.
All right, so we will be right back. This is the 420 radio show. My mic is really low. There we go. That's better.
There you came back out.
Yeah, I know. I turned my mic down there while I was coughing, and I forgot to turn it back up. Sorry.
Play that funky music, white boy.
Yep, we're going to do that right now. Some Warren Zevon, Werewolves of London. This is the 420 radio show. We are live here at 420radio.ca. Happy Friday the 13th. Careful Jason doesn't get you.
The girl of your dreams has got to be in some bar.
Sorry, boys and girls, but this is X-rated. So if you're under 18...
Get out, goddammit! Get the point? Good.
Enough? Bend over.
Y'all ready for this?
Get it down. Get it down. I can't wait anymore.
I like to watch.
Whatever you desire. I know you like it. Do it.
We do it all night long.
You're listening to 420radio.ca, Canadian Cannabis Radio.
I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for the place called Lee Ho Fooks. Gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo, ahoo, werewolves of London. You hear him howling around your kitchen door. You better not let him in. Little old lady got mutilated late last night. Werewolves of London again. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo, ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo. He's the hairy-handed gent who ran amok in Kent. Lately he's been overheard in Mayfair. You better stay away from him. He'll rip your lungs out, Jim. I'd like to meet his tailor. Ahoo, werewolf London. Ahoo, ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo. Well, I saw Lon Chaney walking with the Queen, doing the werewolves of London. I saw Lon Chaney Jr. walking with the Queen, doing the werewolves of London. I saw a werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's. His hair was perfect. Werewolves of London. Drop her.
Next song.
Smoke on the Water, next song? All right, we'll do that. This is the 420 Radio Show. We are back, and today we are chatting with Mr. Chris Backer, who works for MUMM, M-U-M-M-M.
And now...
Almost at many M's, yeah.
Yeah.
And now he works for who?
Well, I'm still with Mom, but it's the Cannabis Substitution Project.
Well, it came up as your new job today.
Yeah, I saw that Facebook. But no, I mean, like I said, Facebook lets me get it out to a lot of people pretty fast. So that was, it's useful for that for sure.
Oh, I got a notification right away that Chris Backer started a new job today.
So did I.
Yeah.
I didn't.
The work I got to notify 3,800 people all at once.
It's a good way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah. No, but and then you guys asked me to be on, so I mean, it's cool. That it's happening quickly. I mean, if the politicians would get back, but they never do.
Well, no, they're not as quick as everybody else.
If they respond at all.
Or as honest.
Well,
speaking of honest politicians, what do you think of Mr. Scheer's attacks on Mr. Trudeau for being corrupt while he's taking money from the Conservative Party to pay for a kid's school?
Yeah, I saw that this morning, yeah.
So, like, it's the first time ever that Conservative Party money was actually put towards education. But I think that's the ultimate of political hypocrite.
Yeah.
You're a crook. Meanwhile, I'm stealing money from you, right?
But they're all crooks, and we know that they're all crooks. That's just it.
Yeah. And everybody gets surprised when they get caught. Fuck. Wake the hell up. You people.
Yeah, really.
Actually, I saw the best profile picture.
You're not allowed to say woo. Wait a minute. You're not allowed to say that.
I am, because I saw the best profile picture ever today. And it was Don Cherry saying, "Merry Christmas, you people."
Yeah. Merry Christmas, you people.
Yeah. No, actually, I think the rule is when you're over 50, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. This is true.
Right.
The only restriction you have is how you feel about getting smacked in the mouth.
Right. And if you're willing to smack them back,
have at it.
If you're willing to smack them back to defend your right to say it, you say whatever you want.
Absolutely. It's you have at her.
And at 50 years old, you should know enough by now to at least be ready for that smack back.
And if cartoons like South Park have taught us anything, there's no such thing as boundaries anymore.
Oh no.
It's just a freaking free for all and have at her.
Yeah. Because I do love a good South Park, but
oh my God,
yeah.
I do.
This is the only show that they can be honest about how they really feel. Oh, we have a world full of snowflakes, and it's wintertime, so it gets confusing because they all mingle now.
What, the snowflakes or the people?
Yeah, the snowflakes.
The flaky people.
Yeah. You know, when they mingle, they become a big ball. Then they get thrown at people.
But I mean, it's getting scary to even go in public because you know you're going to offend somebody. Just look at them the wrong way. And with last night's full moon.
Yep.
And then I smoke a joint, and everything's just a little bit better.
Everybody just shuts the fuck up and goes away.
I think that a smart mall, because, I mean, the malls are just retarded, right? But even Walmart, a good thing would do is hotbox the fucker. As soon as you walk in, you get a nice blast. You walk in the store, everything's nice and peace and calm. Go about your shopping, no panic. On your way out, have another quick blast for the way home. That'll cut down on the road rage.
Are you advocating for driving under the influence of cannabis?
If it calms them down, you're fucking right. I'm a big advocate for cannabis driving.
This is why we have a disclaimer.
Guys, seriously though, there are people that are only alive because somebody else used cannabis. Right?
Yep.
I got pulled over for smoking and driving one time. And we were leaving the museum in Halifax after watching viewing of The Union put on by Normal Women's Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was driving home, and man, there was a Bronco behind me, and he tried to pass me. There was no room in the front of between me and the vehicle in front of me, but he squeezed in, almost ran me off the road. And as soon as he was in front of me, he piled on the brakes, and he was behind me, and I was caught. So he pulls me over and talks about smoking and driving. I said, no, I smoked and then I drove. He goes, well, it's like this: the euphoria that you feel while you're. And I said, look, I'm going to stop you right now. If you want to listen to something about cannabis, you can sit down on this bench here where I'm handcuffed and listen. But if you got to tell me something, you should go talk to your friends instead. And he just walked away.
Yeah.
They don't want to learn.
Well, we can't say that because I have actually had the pleasure of educating a few police officers, and I have to say that I did open up their eyes, and they've changed their attitude. And we sat down with an officer that reached out to us to learn, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So, I mean,
I don't know how much I changed any. I don't know if we changed any minds, though, is what I'm saying. Yes, he reached out.
Yeah. Well, let's reiterate. He reached out to pick our brains to better assist them to recognize legal medical gardens from illegal grows. And what's the difference?
A piece of paper?
Yep. That's pretty much it. Because
piece of paper.
You look at anybody's garden, you cannot tell if it's legal or if it's illegal because a garden is a garden.
Yeah.
It's all up to paper.
And an actual difference.
And most people that grow it smoke it, so they don't poison themselves.
They don't poison the house that they live in.
No. Yeah, especially if they're growing in their house, they don't poison their house. Now you get the illegal grow where it's just basically rent the house for a grow and then skip out. That one can destroy a house pretty quick.
Well, now I will say, some people grow and they grow terribly. I've seen people grow with a 1,000-watt bulb on a 150-foot extension cord plugged into the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a fire waiting to happen.
People make really bad decisions when they're growing, when they don't know what they're doing at all.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, you like to think that they can't. I mean, how bad can they make some bad ones? I was given a grow class, and while we were talking, the girl was saying that she was running her 1,000-watt light on this long extension cord, and she can't even pick the fixture up to move it around because the receptacle's so hot. The cord's hot. I said, you got to leave. I was teaching class. I said, you need to leave and go home now and unplug that. Like, now. Go. Get out of here. Go. She has her kid at home with a baby. You got to go home. That can't be there.
This is why we want to try and teach people the right way and not the do-it-yourself without having somebody show you something.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily a growth thing. I mean, somebody can have the same fire hazard just preparing for Christmas, for God's sake.
How about
Sure
the guy?
can.
How about the guy that puts the water reservoir above the ballasts?
Yeah, I mean,
right? You don't stop to think.
What about the cool tubes that run water through them?
Yeah.
That one always blew my mind. Water and electricity. Almost a good combination.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. They do it in fish tanks.
Yeah, not quite.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah.
Oh, well. Eventually, people are going to learn that they're going to burn their houses down, right? Or blow them up. And on that note, we have dead silence.
No, I'm rolling.
No?
We're all
No,
here.
that was always the scariest thing. I mean, what I tell people is make sure you buy quality equipment. I mean, yes, you don't have to buy the cheapest thing, but don't have to buy the most expensive thing, but don't buy the cheapest thing.
Well, you got to buy the right thing for the job too. I mean,
this is it, Chris.
For example, with the whole blowing things up thing. I mean, I'll just mention, for example, if you're thinking about making oil and stuff, the idea of using a crock pot over a rice cooker.
There you go.
A lot of people don't realize that rice cooker have the switch. A couple of things about a rice cooker. It takes hours to make oil.
Chris realized it.
It takes 20 minutes to cook rice.
That's
rice
right.
cookers aren't designed to run for hours and hours and hours.
No, they're not.
Second, rice cookers, once they're close to done, they have a switch that flips automatically. It's a mechanical switch that flips.
Mm-hmm.
There's a spark in that switch. A rice cooker is one of the more dangerous things you can use to make oil with, because that does that automatically, and it does the spark is low at the bottom, and that's where your alcohol fumes sit.
And it doesn't take much of those fumes.
Nope, that's all it takes to start a fire. Okay, a slow cooker is meant to run for hours and hours and days if you want. It doesn't matter.
But here's a trick that I learned a very long time ago when I watched Mr. Simpson's video. And Mr. Simpson had a fan on this video.
Yep.
Yep.
And it was blowing across the top of the solvent.
Yep. I had fans all over the place.
It took me 2 seconds to realize that the fan was in the wrong spot. The fan should be actually aimed below the pot or below the top of the pot, aimed at the element or the heating coil or the electrical to keep the vapor away from that area. Because the vapor's still going to go down. But as long as it's being moved away from that spark area, then you're reducing the risk.
Now,
just don't
see, here's what I've never got. Okay, so you're worried about spark big time when it comes to making oil because of the vapors. But yet, what is a fan? It's a spinning spark.
Yeah, but you're not putting the vapor through the fan motor. You're blowing air from the fan across the vapor.
Okay.
Yeah, the fan's not like right in the.
It's not sucking vapor. It's not sucking it. It's pushing it.
Okay.
It's just blowing air around the room. You just don't like you said. You just don't want it sitting still. And if there's a fan blowing across the top of your cooking vessel, your evaporation rate like triples. It just goes 3-4 times faster.
Yeah.
That
fan
I
to
didn't
blow
know.
across the top makes it evaporate way quicker.
I didn't know that.
Actually,
And
doing it outdoors in the wintertime makes it go even faster because you have low humidity in the wintertime.
I know a lot of people.
but outside in the wintertime, I find your vapors will hug the ground a lot more too.
Of course they will, because
it's colder.
Yeah.
A lot of people in apartments
condensing a lot faster,
just put their crock pot out on the balcony and let it go. I mean, there's a lot of circulation on a balcony, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
But even if there's a lot of circulation outside, I'd still use a fan.
Mm.
And I always aim the fan at the electrical.
Okay.
That's what I did. I always pointed it on the where the pot plugged in.
Yeah.
What I used to use was an electric frying pan filled up with water and put a pot of water in it. I did like a double boil system.
That takes even longer.
I know it does, but I had a fire and it scared me, and I didn't make oil for 5 years. So,
well, and here's the other thing: if it's important to you at all, by using a slow cooker instead of a rice cooker, or using like Darcy said, the double boiler, you wind up keeping more terpenes than you do in the rice cooker, which cooks the piss out of everything.
Right, because a rice cooker is meant to cook it at a high temperature for a short period of time.
I know people that use distillers to make it, okay? And those things, it's like using a deep fryer to cook it with. They run too hot.
Not if
they get that hot.
Right, but if they do their distilling right, then it won't get too hot. Because the distiller, all it really distilling's doing is recovering your solvent for you instead of letting it go to atmosphere.
We know
which
somebody
but the
is
element
great.
still gets to a certain temperature. That stuff cooks way more violent. Like in a crock pot, it doesn't boil. Okay, it simmers. It doesn't. It
but
never
it only
boils
needs
in a crock pot.
It only needs 180 degrees Fahrenheit to boil.
Okay, but it doesn't get it in a crock pot, is what I'm saying.
Right, because you never turn the crock pot up high enough to get to that boiling point.
Right, and you keep more terpenes. I mean, I make oil that sometimes is dabbable. If it was nice and terpy in the beginning, I could make RSO that still tastes and smells like what it was.
Oh yeah,
but because you're not.
But if somebody with a distiller. Somebody with a distiller that knows what they're doing has their temperature set low enough that they don't have to worry about burning off their terpenes. Right. The other advantage is because it's enclosed in the distiller, a lot of those terpenes are being kept in there anyways.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between distillers, because you can get a distiller for doing this, which is all electronic controlled, or you can have a distiller that's big copper pot over a flame.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking the water purifier stills a lot of people use.
I know, and that's meant for boiling at 212 degrees.
I just wanted to say about the rice cooker, though. Like I said, I've made oil 1,000 times in crock pots, and I used a rice cooker once.
Yeah,
that's how that worked out for me. So,
well, you're skirting around. Let's tell people why it's important to heed this warning, Chris. Seriously.
Oh, because I mean, I had a fire when I did it. I mean, I was making the oil in the basement, which is not where you're supposed to do it, but that's where you do it if you don't want to get caught, because you don't want everybody to see what you're doing. People do it where they can hide. So, did it down there. Had all kinds of ventilation, but it didn't matter. Like I said, it was a crock pot. A rice cooker. I used one once, and that's really all it took. I spent 7 months in the hospital for 85.
Basically, the gas filled up, and the rice cooker shut off, and there was a spark, and boom.
Right, but here's the other issues. It was in the basement, so his windows were above 4 feet above the floor. So even having your windows open is great ventilation, but the problem with vapors like that is they're heavier than air, and they literally sat down at the floor level. Yeah,
I even had the doors of the basement open and a fan in the door blowing air in. I mean, I had air pumping into the basement to push air back out and stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. It's just
the law of averages.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're still with us, and you endured a lot. So when Chris heeds these kinds of warnings, he knows firsthand what will
He's talking
happen.
firsthand experience.
Yeah. It's not like he just heard you shouldn't use this.
Yeah, quicker is not better, especially when you're making oil, because you're making a medicine and you want it to be the best quality, not a whole bunch of burnt carbon laying in the bottom of the pot.
Okay, so let's go through this. How long do you soak for?
Me?
No, not you in general. You don't have to give your secrets away. I'm just in general. If you were going to explain somebody how to make oil,
if I was going to explain somebody how to make oil,
yeah.
I don't soak it any more than 2 minutes.
Okay, so some people stick it in there for hours, for days sometimes.
That's fine. They like green oil. They get the chlorophyll.
And
I don't.
That's what I'm getting at. So the longer you soak, the more chlorophyll you have in your medicine.
Yeah, you don't get more THC because it melts so fast off the plant. It's ridiculous. So it's. I mean, you don't need a lot of time. I don't rush to do it in 2 minutes. I fill my bucket. It soaks. I give it a couple swishes and stirs. Then I pour it out and I filter it. I give it a rinse and then I pour that out and filter that. And then I'm done. I'm not in a hurry. I don't panic about it. But it starts. It's pretty much melted as soon as you get the alcohol across it.
It takes me
so quick.
it takes me a day to do my filtering, my straining and filtering, and a day to do the boiling off.
Use everything frozen if you can too.
Yeah, as cold as you can.
What I do, everything
get
frozen.
less chlorophyll.
Well, yeah,
Less
because
chlorophyll and less waxes.
it knocks it off faster, basically, right?
What knocks it off faster?
The crystals and all that.
No. When we say that these crystals dissolve fast, these crystals dissolve faster than you can see. Because I've done it with a microscope.
Geez, somebody's dissolving something quick. Where's the flush? We're waiting for the flush.
What?
Sounds like somebody was peeing.
Darcy goes pee all the time on the air.
I sounded like a bong.
No, actually, it was a water cooler. I grabbed a drink of water.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Now you've made everybody have to go pee.
Nice.
But yeah, it's so fast coming off that really it doesn't have to be in for any more than a couple seconds.
No, it happens fast. Absolutely.
It's quick. But when it's frozen, what you've done is you've frozen all of the water that's in the plant because you're still going to have entrapped water. And then freezing the alcohol ensures that water stays frozen in the plant. So by the time you finish doing your extraction, your plant should be just starting to thaw out.
And you keep a lot of waxes out that way too.
Yeah. You just end up with a much cleaner oil with a much better color.
I think the one step that I would give anybody as a tip for making the cleanest oil that they can is when you got your crock pot all the way down and you're getting ready to put it into a smaller crock pot, or because it's so little that's in there but it's still running, let it get cold and filter it one more time.
Yeah.
That filter, the amount you'll get out in a coffee filter will blow your mind, and it's so worth it. It's amazing. It blows your mind. One of the things that happens, I think, is all the waxes that did make it through your coffee filter, once it all gets hot, they start to stick together. The little molecules start to stick together again, and when it cools, you get bigger wax globs again, and you can get more stuff out. It's a neat little trick, and I find it makes a big difference in the final product.
Yeah.
Do it once, and the coffee filter will answer the question for you.
Now, if you've got a few $100,000, you can get machines that do it for you. But
okay,
you're paying a few $100,000.
Other people's money.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, people have been making oil for years and years and years and years. With all that practice, we basically come up with better ways to do it. The problem is trying to do it without getting caught, because regardless, it's still illegal.
Well, and like you said, I mean, you can get the nice equipment, but you also want to do it without breaking the bank, right? I mean,
right. But even the nice equipment, if you're doing it at home, it's still illegal. That's the problem, because the way the Cannabis Act is written. So, while I can't advocate somebody to break the law, I can fully understand why they would have to. So I'd still help them.
Because the only way you're allowed to make a a concentrate like that is a rosin, is it not, Marcel?
Yeah, the only concentrates you're allowed to do are solventless. So you can get away with CO2 extraction, but then that's an extremely expensive endeavor for that, and you're also dealing with very high pressures. So you have a very big safety risk with that. The other options is hashes and rosins.
Yeah,
and live resin.
Explain
everybody
the
likes
difference
live resin.
between live resin and live rosin. Or rosin.
There's no live rosin.
Okay.
There's live resin.
Yeah.
Which is you cut the bud off the plant,
and then squish
throw it in a freezer and quick freeze it, and then press it.
I have my press at home now, you know.
Well, then you can do your live rosin as soon as you grow your plants and you cut a bud off.
Live resin would be hash.
Or live resin, sorry.
No,
live
resin
rosin.
would be hash, and live rosin is what you press.
No, live resin is pressed undried buds. Live rosin is dried buds. Extracted, whether through ice water or through dry sifting, is hash.
Can you squish
Well,
the whole plant?
People used to take it right off the plant and just smack it off and just take the crystal off like that.
That's
That's
hash.
live. That's hash, but that's live resin.
Do you get some kind of a
yeah,
rosin?
but that's how most palm hash was made.
Well, but palm hash is live resin.
Do you get a rosin when you squish the whole
Technically,
plant?
yeah, but it's
Marcel?
not considered that way
But you
in the world. I know what you mean.
Rosin when you press it, heat and pressure gives you a rosin.
Yeah.
If you're not. If there's no heat and pressure, it's not rosin.
But when you do the whole plant, what do you get?
What do you mean through the whole plant?
Can you do the whole plant? Stems, leaf, everything. Squish it.
Press them?
You don't
Why would you?
No, I'm asking. I'm seriously asking. Why would you or would you not?
You'd only press what was worthwhile to press.
So just the bud,
flower.
the flower. Yeah. Okay.
If you want to make a really good rosin, make bubble hash first and press the bubble hash.
Oh yeah.
Because what you'll do is you'll clean a lot of the crap off of your hash by making or your cannabinoids or your crystals with the washing process.
But what you lose there, though, is the one thing that makes rosin any better than shatter, as far as I'm concerned, is the flavor. And that flavor is because you get the terpenes that are water soluble, okay, when you make rosin, because it presses more out than just the cannabinoids.
Right.
So you get other terpenes that when you make it from butane or anything else that you don't get, those aren't pulled.
Right.
Because they're solvent.
But the other thing, then this is the other difference between rosin and resin, is resin being fresh plant, you end up with even more terpenes because live resin smells like the plant that was as it was growing, where rosin is going to smell like the dried bud. Try it. Try pressing a fresh bud right off the plant and smell that resin compared to what you get for the same bud up from dried for rosin, and it's completely different.
Yeah, because I'm all for like you said, making the bubble hash, because bubble hash gives you clean product. The thing is, it also washes away your terps.
Right. Well, yeah, but your terps, you start losing terps as soon as your plant starts to dry. Right.
Yeah,
so even the drying process, you're losing terps.
Why I don't like to wash them away, though.
There's a lot of guys that'll turn around and they'll make their hash out of fresh frozen bud.
Yes, I know a lot of people that use fresh frozen.
Yeah. And it's another great way to do it because you still end up with a higher terpene in that hash because you got it while it was fresh.
I personally like drying it and doing it, but I find I get a better yield.
Yeah. Yeah,
and I've made
tend to get a better yield.
I've made shatter with fresh frozen stuff, and it comes out just almost clear. It's beautiful.
Yeah, well, yeah. But then shatter has its own advantages and disadvantages.
So
I'm a big fan of shatter if somebody uses a vacuum oven.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not a fan of honey oil. All right.
Well, you can still vacuum oven honey oil, too, though.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's been vacuumed.
I vac all my oil now. It's just
I'm not a fan of solvents, especially hydrocarbon solvents like butane and propane.
No, absolutely. But if they're gone, they're gone. So
yeah, as long as you can get them gone. So what do you think of all of the reports coming in of rosin having high contents of pine sap or pine tar?
Rosin's from where?
People add the manufacturers putting stuff in it. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that goes back to the old stories of people putting lead flakes in their weed and glass dust, and just people. There's always been stories about people add weight to stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, at one time there was the big thing of spraying it with Coca-Cola or Pepsi.
Yeah,
it made it nice and sticky.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Black
surprise
shoe polish.
Crazy glue.
Yeah. Black shoe polish and melted vinyl records is what they said they used to put in hash.
But I know of a guy that used to put super glue in oil because he could spread the amount of oil. Somebody smoking it wouldn't be able to tell the difference if it was a pure crude oil or if it was cut with something like super glue. And there are people out there that will do that shit for dollars.
Because people back then didn't give a shit how they made their oil. I mean, they sort of, so to speak, put their foot in it. And
I found out about this guy about 5 years ago that he was doing it. Right, so these are the kind
of
people
that wrote there. That's why you need to know where you're getting your medicine from. If you're going to use it as medicine, you want to know where you get it. I mean, if it's something you're going to put in your mouth, then you need to know where it comes from. Take a little bit out, spread it out on a paper, smear it thin. Is there shit in it? Is it?
Here's
clear?
a better way to do it.
What's that?
Bite the bullet and send it to the lab and get it tested. Because under the Cannabis Act now, you can walk into any lab and give them a sample, pay the fee, and get a lab report on exactly what you bought.
Absolutely, but it's not cost effective. That's the problem.
Okay? No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's not. But if I'm sick and, for example, I've got cancer, I need 60 to 90 grams of oil. Before I'm going to buy 60 to 90 grams of oil.
I've got some.
Pardon?
And you can't find any, and then somebody comes along and says, "Hey, man, I got some. Do you want this?" And you want to know if it's going to be good or if it's not. You've got to decide right now. That's what you got to.
No, because if I'm going to buy 60 to 90 grams of oil, you're going to give me a gram, or I'm going to buy a gram from you, and I'm going to send it to the lab, and I'm going to get a certificate of analysis. Because before I ingest it, I want to know what the hell I'm actually ingesting.
Fair enough. And if your report comes back and the person still has that oil available to sell you, then you can get it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're screwed.
Good. Right.
Yeah, because good chance he's not going to wait around 2 or 3 days for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's not going to wait for you to get a report. I mean, it's going to take a while, I guarantee. It's not going to be quick results on that stuff.
No. I don't know. I've got.
Again, it depends.
I've got it in with a lab that I can get a turnaround quick.
It depends what you're getting it for and what your situation is. So, I mean,
exactly.
if it's cancer and people are desperate, I mean, and you don't know where to get it, they jump on it, right?
But it goes back to, you have no idea what the percentage is of the cannabinoids, such as THC or CBD, that's in that oil, unless you get a test done.
Oh, absolutely. The thing
you can't assume that it's got everything in it that you need.
No, but you can assume that it's made from a whole plant, whether it be bud or shake, and if you're going to eat as much of it as you possibly can, and that's that.
Right.
You're just going to get as much of it into you as you possibly can tolerate. If it was bud oil, you'd be able to eat less than you will be able to eat if it was shake oil. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's your gauge, just basically eating as much as you can, as fast as you can, for 3 months.
If that.
Just trying to make it simple and dirty. I mean, if you're just
get it done. I agree with simple and dirty. It's just that I live in a world where simple and dirty doesn't work for me. I have to know
And I
exactly
understand
what's
that
in it.
too. I understand that too. But I mean, a lot of us don't don't live in that world, unfortunately. You know, so or fortunately.
Here's where it really boils down to. If you're sick and you need a large amount of oil, make it yourself.
Absolutely.
Because it's the only way that you're going to know that you're getting exactly what you want and need, but exactly what you get, you are the only one that knows how safe it is.
Well, make it yourself, or at least supply the product you want for the oil you want. Okay,
right.
To the person that's making it. I mean,
but even stay there with them when they make it.
Well, I agree. I mean, I teach people all the time how to make oil. I mean, everybody should know how to make it and tell somebody else how to make it as well. It's important. It saves lives, and it's the, as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the most valuable forms to have the plant in. So.
Oh, I fully agree with that, and I have for years.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that one too, Chris.
Most versatile form of the plant, and we're not allowed to have it.
Yeah.
It's because it's concentrated.
Yeah. Somebody wasn't concentrate when they came up with that decision.
Well, I don't know. I still keep looking at it as the whole legalization is set up the same way that the medical program was set up. It's destined to fail.
Oh, I've said that since day one, that the legalization was set up to fail so they can say, hey, at least we tried it, it didn't work.
Right.
But hey.
The whole goal of legalization was to get it out of the hands of kids. Well, that didn't fucking work. And that just
kids
made
don't
better.
Want weed. Kids don't want weed. Kids want pills.
No, there's a lot of kids that still want weed, but they can get it easier now because the people that go get their liquor can go get their weed for them.
The thing is, they rolled it out like booze, okay? And that'd be one thing, but even with booze, you can still get harder stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So why is the extracts a problem when it's weed, when they're running it the same way they wanted to run it the way with booze, like they did with booze? It makes no sense.
Yeah. Then the other big goal was to get rid of the black market. Well, let's see how this pans out. You have a black market that's been running for 90 years that has distribution networks, supply chains, everything set up. You bring out legalization with higher prices and taxes. All of the black market dealers didn't lose any customers to legalization. What they did is they started gaining customers because it's legal, more people are talking about it, and they tell their friends, oh, I don't buy mine at the liquor store. I get mine from Matt in apartment 6B because it's way better deal. Yeah, exactly. Matt put Cannabis NB out of business.
Matt is the man.
Right? So everything that he said his reasoning for legalization and how he was going to control this has been an epic failure.
Oh, it's definitely been an epic failure.
Kids still get it. Black market's got 71% of the cannabis trade in Canada, according to Forbes. All right? That means that if they do $30 billion in sales in Canada through the legal market, the black market's doing $70 billion. Do you think they'll get rid of a black market? Not a chance.
No.
Like I said, leave it to the government to lose money at selling drugs.
Yeah. The only entity in the world could ever lose money selling drugs. There's a reason
people
why
out there that
sell
can't
drugs.
keep their shit together. But oh man, but they can't make money selling pot.
Yeah.
when they try to make it a monopoly, right?
Oh, who keeps sharing this thing? God.
What's that, Marcel?
I've already deleted 3 of these posts from groups. I'm not a moderator in this group, so I'm just going to report it. Somebody keeps sharing the free Samsung Galaxy S12 phones things and putting it all the groups.
Yeah, it seems to be either that or sunglasses lately.
Yeah. It's very likely what it is. It's probably a spy or a virus
So,
on their
Chris,
system that does it.
you're still doing course support, Chris?
I am. There's a couple. Yeah, there's still a few cases happening. It's still going on. Chris Enns is still in court. Heidi from High Living is still in court. I mean, other members of the same dispensaries, they're still in court on their own. Some of them are with each other. Some are they went on their own. There's a bunch of other dispensaries. They got people that are going for sentencing in January and stuff. It's still a shit show.
Where's Chris Enns at now? Is he just waiting for a decision, or has he still got more on the docket?
There's more on the docket. There's more in court actually. I think it's this week. I think they're in court actually this week or next. I've just been this cannabis substitution project kind of came out of nowhere as an idea, and I'm kind of like a dog pushing a rock, right?
Yeah.
I just one thing at a time when I get into it. So I haven't gotten a chance to follow up where if he and Jack Lloyd are back at it already. I believe that they are. I think it's this week, I believe. So
oh yeah,
I'll have to look online and see what happened. I haven't had a chance to look. So, but yeah, I know Heidi's back in court next Friday, and
wow, they're still going at her, eh?
Oh yeah,
yeah. That was the raid on her house and her non-dispensary crystal and bong shop. Yeah.
Wow.
Smoky Quartz, yeah.
Smoky Quartz Emporium, yeah. Absolutely ridiculous, but she's feeling pretty confident about it. So
they seem to have latched on to a few people, and they just won't let go in the province, eh?
No, I think they need a new hobby. They should smoke weed.
Yeah.
Seeing how they're losing all the money that they invested in the stock market with weed, they should try and smoke some and see if they can up their holdings.
Oh, what did I read the other day? Canopy growth. Canopy growth would have to sell $3 billion a year of cannabis on top of what they already sell for them to even break even.
Well, you know something? They could do it if they weren't doing it the way they're doing it.
Right.
It's not even unrealistic numbers.
No, no.
It's just not the way they're doing it.
Having an excise tax on it kind of sucks. Having GST and PST or HST on it really sucks. Because this is why Matt's still doing so freaking good. Because Matt in Apartment 6B, he's going to own the whole building soon.
That's funny. That was the best article ever, Matt.
That was.
Winning the war on drugs.
Yeah.
He's putting, Cannabis New Brunswick out of business.
Yeah. And then the follow-up article of how we put them out of business. Their finance minister wasn't very happy.
They should have left it private. They should have put it private in the first place, Marcel.
I agree. Well, look at what's happened in Ontario. Ontario did a lottery. That worked out well. Now they're scrapping the lottery. So that would really piss a lot of people off that got screwed over in that lottery system. That now that they
do all
don't.
The time. Look what they put in the smoking rooms.
Oh yeah.
They let all the bars and the coffee shops put in smoking rooms. That lasted for, I think it was like 6 months, and then they had to all pull them all out again. It was ridiculous. Yeah. They spent $30,000-$40,000 some of these places to put in a smoking area with glass door and an imaginary wall that didn't let the smoke out, apparently.
And then their employees weren't allowed to go in there.
Didn't let the smoke out.
Yeah, and you're right. The employees weren't allowed to go in there. You have to come out and get your stuff. And then they weren't allowed to do it anymore.
See, snowflakes running our world.
Well, they waffle on everything. Little convenience stores had those little poker machines.
Yeah.
They spent a bunch of money, got a bunch of poker machines, were making good money, bought themselves new cars and stuff, and had things were going good. Government says, no, take them out again. Well,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah. Who's paying those car payments? Damn it.
No, they lose those cars.
Yeah. Oh. What was it? Manitoba. Everybody was freaking out about Manitoba because Manitoba is an automatic fine if you get caught with cannabis that's not packaged. Nor non-medical cannabis that's not packaged in government-approved containers.
So everybody needs to go and buy at least one thing at an LP and keep your container.
Yeah, but a lot of people started freaking out and saying, what about grow your own? You're not allowed to grow your own in Manitoba. So if you're in Manitoba and you're growing your own, that's illegal. And if you get caught with any cannabis that's not in licensed packaging, that's illegal. So you're going to get fined now. I think it's $268 fine or something.
So don't drive to
Somebody can't-
Manitoba with your cannabis.
Right.
Somebody can't gift you cannabis from. I mean, patients are allowed to gift.
So
I grow
supposedly,
in BC and I give it to somebody in Manitoba.
supposedly the gifting of cannabis only applies to cannabis that was legally purchased. So you can go into the liquor store and you can buy 30 grams of cannabis and then you can gift that to somebody else. But the way they're trying to say it is you grow your 4 plants, that's for you and you only, and you can't gift that.
You know, that would just be a joy to stand up and talk to a judge about.
Oh, I
I
think
would actually enjoy that conversation because there's no way on God's green earth that would go down, and that wouldn't go. No, you'd be fine. No way.
The whole Cannabis Act is a lawyer's wet dream because there's so many legal arguments that you could have and you would win.
You just need the Homer Simpson argument. You just got to look at the judge and go, Your Honor, come on.
Yeah, come on. Come on.
Come on.
How stupid can we be in this society? Oh, we're proving it
Are
every
you
day.
fucking serious?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Marcel,
that's it.
have you
That's what
ever-
it's come down to.
Pardon, Darcy?
Have you ever heard of a thing called ultrasonic cannabis extraction
Yes.
and sonication?
Yes.
Okay.
Would I do them? No. But I am looking at ultrasonic dispersion.
Don't you need to hire Celine Dion to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
No,
no.
I was just reading something there, and it said ultrasonic. What's your take on ultrasonic cannabis extraction?
Expense and time, which both works out the same thing.
Expense and time.
It's not cheap and it's not large volumes. So, I mean, for a home person, sure, why not? If you want to make a couple grams, but not for large volume.
They have machines to do this now?
Sure.
That are on
Yes.
the homeowner's level?
Well, if the homeowner's got a few $1,000s to pay, oh, sure.
Then no, it's not. It's not like a magic butter machine, a couple $100.
Oh, no.
You
So
put your pot in a bowl between two big 4-foot-tall neighbor hater speakers. Okay, some pumping. Okay, you'll blow those fucking crystals right off that plant.
Maybe some of the Rankin family too.
There you go.
They're pretty good at hitting that high C.
The rank is good for the weed that's stankin'.
Yeah. There's a commercial for you. Yeah, you use sound waves to vibrate it off.
Somebody needs to buy somebody a new chair. I can hear it squeaking.
That's my chair.
Well, you need a new chair then, buddy. Put it in
Hey,
the
listen,
deal. Put it
I
in
only
the deal
get to
for the
use
house.
this on Friday nights
when
now.
you guys looking for a house, say that hey, I like that chair. It's got to come with the house, or forget it. Get a new chair.
No, man, I love this chair. And I only get to sit in it on Friday nights.
You don't take it to work with you?
Yeah, no.
It's too squeaky.
It's too squeaky. They'd complain.
I would.
Darcy would whine because he sits close to.
There's that sound again, man. Marcel, shut the fuck up.
Oh no, Darcy comes in, puts music on, and then leaves. So we get and locks his computer, so we can't go in and turn the music off.
Oh, does he?
He's a nice guy like that.
Suck on that one, Marcel.
What you mean?
Oh, you never know what it could. It could be thrash metal, or it could be Celine Dion, knowing him.
Did you get your chair clean to the point where you can actually go in now?
Yeah, it's testing below 30, so.
Oh, well, is that good?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's good.
Your hands after you wash them will test it around 600. So yeah, I'd say his chair was pretty clean.
You could lick my chair now and you wouldn't die.
Yeah, no chance.
But hey, here's the thing.
You selling tickets on that or what?
Don't lick my chair.
Lick my chair.
Before I washed that chair, we swabbed it, and they swabbed the wheels, and this is the same chair.
The actual tires.
Yeah, like the tires. This is the exact same chair that I had in Toronto, wheeling around the old disgusting streets and running over food and garbage and stuff like that. And when I got back and I tested them, I still only tested at 80.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah. It was crazy. So that just goes to show how clean the streets are up there.
But
really clean.
But he wouldn't test where he farts.
No, we tested one cushion.
Yeah, but he didn't test the one that you were farting on for the last 6 months.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I think that would be a good test.
They don't want to break the machine.
No, you don't.
Would that be called a fart test?
It's called a fart test. So, Marcel?
What?
I'm going to read you a question here. And I want your thoughts because...
Is it from the chat room?
No, this is from my growers network that we're a part of, actually. It says, so I was looking at you guys for some insight and results for some information on putting your plants after I flush them into the dark period for 48 to 72 hours. A lot of people say it does nothing, while a lot of people say it increases THC levels. What do you think?
Wait, he flushes his plants.
Flushes them all out.
Before putting them into the dark cycle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're all flushed out. He's ready to today could be the harvest day, or 2 days from now could be harvest day. There you go. They're all flushed out. 2 days from now it's harvest day. Do you snap that into darkness for 48 hours, or do you just let it continue as 12-12?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought he was flushing them.
I know a lot of people that do that.
No, I thought he was flushing them after veg, is how you're saying. So I know a lot of people that do that too. I grow mostly outdoors, and so you don't have that option outdoors. Indoors, I don't know. I've never tried it to see if there's much of a difference, to be honest.
I've never noticed because I'm always growing a different crop, so I don't notice if that was the difference or not. But
Yeah.
I've heard that before. I know people that use it and are happy with it. The other thing that you do at the same time as well as in the dark, you run a black light. I've heard that too really pumps up the crystal content.
Yeah.
That'd be the UV in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
Because of UV lights. UV does increase cannabinoid profile or crystal production on your plant because it replicates UV from the sun.
If you can get UV A, B, and C.
Yeah, if you can't
Right.
get them all.
If you can get them all to replicate the sun, then you're going to have a much better count. But the problem is when you're running those UV lights, you can't have anybody in the room.
No, you can't. Remember the one we built one, Marcel, for a company, and it works fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm gonna see if I can get that back here one of these days.
Isn't there one of the UVB? Isn't there one of the UVs that you don't want though? Of the ABC, isn't there one of them you don't want? I thought
The plant's going to take all of them. But
If
you
one
as a
actually
person
can
don't
damage,
want.
though.
Pardon?
One
don't
actually
want B
can
and
create
C.
damage.
No,
One will
'cause-
actually damage the plants. And because if you get the right light as well, you can use UV light of the right for pest control as well.
Oh yes,
Yes,
definitely.
you can. And you can use it for mold mildew control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that light that we developed, it works for pest control and it works for mold mildew control too.
I think, I'm trying to go off memory. I think it's like 440 nanometers or something like that is the kind of the wavelength of the color you're kind of shooting for.
Right.
440 to 550. 440 to 550 is the wavelengths that we put in our diodes.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, those are the wavelengths we put in them diodes, and then we also did infrared, 720 to 830 infrared in that too.
Now,
and I guess, and I've
I
never
can
used
attest
it.
to.
You just kind of walk around the plant, shining it, and you can hear them dying, or do they scream or whatever? The bugs, they're dying.
Yeah,
Never-
the bugs.
Does it work that fast?
No, but
No.
What I found actually, Chris, is because I intentionally infested a crop and tested this light out, and being a grower and knowing what you know, like yourself, when you intentionally infest a crop, you want to cry because you don't want to get them bugs because we know how hard it is to get rid of them once you get them, especially once they take hold.
Yeah.
So when I did that and I put them in, I only used for a control. All I used was Safer's insecticidal soap along with the light, and one application with the Safer's with the light. Then I snapped the light on it was 6 hours a day for 3 weeks. After my 3 weeks, my bug count was like down to like 95%. I eradicated it, and that was with only one application of the Safer's and the light on for 6 hours a day for 3 weeks.
Okay.
So it does work.
That's still more light than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was something you just kind of walk around the room for like 15 or 20 minutes between all your plants and you're done. But
No, see,
no,
the
that
nice
was 6
thing,
hours.
nice things
Now maybe
with
you only need an hour. I don't know, but I did 6 hours. Sorry about that, Marcel. Go ahead.
the nice thing with the LED lights is you can put these in to the LED lights.
Yeah, you put them right in.
So you can actually go to a much lower wattage and have them built into the LED light itself. So where you have your white, your red, and your blues, you can also have some infrared and some UV in there as well.
But I don't think that the lights to produce that pop with that much power. I think you got to kind of have the light pretty damn close to your plant when you're to the bugs as it's going over.
Well, it depends on
what
which.
they don't cook. I mean, what happens is the eggs that wind up hatching, the ones that still hatch, wind up sterile and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
The way it affects their DNA, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, they do, and they can breed, and they live. I mean, of course they're going to live, but their life cycle is so short that they live and die, right?
I still want stuff that when you spray it on them, you can hear the bugs scream.
I think
that's make me feel way better.
I agree with you 110% on that one. And
My
Marcel's
15 eyes burn.
Marcella always has a cure of what was it, Marcel? 70% isopropyl.
Yeah, 70% isopropyl for spider mites.
And as soon as it hits them, it dries them out.
Before flowering.
Yeah,
because
of course.
it will dry it. It kills the mites, but it also dries out the eggs.
Yeah. And I mean, what I always tell people, if you're 2 or 3 weeks into flower and you get a bug outbreak, I know as much as it sucks, but you're better off to cut them plants down and disinfect your room right away and start right back up, because you're only gonna be out 6 weeks instead of 10 weeks. So
yeah,
I mean,
so here's another little tip too, because of things like fungus, gnats, and things like that. It doesn't hurt to, and it's very inexpensive. Put a top coating of diatomaceous earth on your growing medium. And if you do get
bugs, use other bugs to kill them bugs. They will not stay on your plant. You're not smoking your beneficials. They'll crawl. If there's no food there, they don't come out of their little stashel nest.
But not ladybugs. Don't bother with ladybugs because they're
because they'll fly right into your light.
Unless your ladybugs have tattoos and studded collars and drive little fucking Harleys, they're fucking useless in pest control.
They're awesome outdoors, because outdoors you tend to have way more aphids. But the majority of what ladybugs eat is aphids, and you have way more coming into your house, into your plants, than aphids.
It's not the ladybugs that eat your bugs. It's the ladybug larvae. So because you put a bunch of ladybugs in there, they need to breed. They need to have eggs. They need to have. Shit needs to happen. No.
And if you want to see what a ladybug larva looks like, go on to my Facebook pictures, because I actually have a picture of a ladybug larva. They look like a little.
So cute.
They look like a little alien.
And they're not so cute.
But they are amazing for cleaning up your plants.
What's not cute is the look on your wife's face when you tell her you just dumped 10,000 ladybugs in the basement.
Yeah, that's not
that's
cute.
That's what's not cute.
They don't.
Yeah, you get ladybugs everywhere. They do eventually die off, but
well, it's just who lives longer, you or them.
Yeah.
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 Oh.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, the other option is predator spiders and stuff. I mean,
I love crab spiders. I mean, they're amazing little predators.
Yeah, try and keep them in the room.
Yeah, no. But as soon as the food leaves, they leave, because they've got to go find food. And if they've eaten all of the bugs in your room, then why would they stay?
I know a guy. He had them in his room. And when he opened his door to walk in his room, you go in the room and you turn around, you look at the door, around the entire door frame, the spiders are just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, to get out, to go and find food.
Or for something to come in. They were looking at the only entrance for anything that was coming in was there.
Yeah.
I mean.
Feed me.
No, I'm not a fan of using bugs in a tent or in a grow room indoors. Unless it's a large scale, and you've got nesting packs for them to go back to when they run out of food.
Yeah, the nesting packs are essential.
Yeah.
Or unless you're using a beneficial nematode or a soil dwelling or medium or waterborne dwelling insect.
But also in the case of that, I'm a big fan of covering your pot in landscape material.
Yes, but if you're growing deep water culture and end up getting fucking fungus gnat or root aphids or something like that down in your root system, beneficial nematodes are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just a little worm. They're microscopic. They're clear. They already come mixed up. You just mix them in water and pour them in. You can get the same, and then you can get the same ones for your lawn or for your vegetable gardens too. You just, like I say, you just mix them up, mix them in water, and dump them on your lawn, and they go in the ground and they'll eat. If you're a person that don't like June bugs, beneficial nematodes are essential in your lawn because they'll eat all the larvae.
I like the June bugs because the larvae feeds the skunks.
Yeah. And then you've got little holes all over your yard.
So it's a bottle of juice knees from toads.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of June bugs, but I don't hate them.
They don't
like the
bother
provision.
me.
You guys are starting to bug me.
Pick them off the front door and throw them at you.
Yeah, and they stick because the little legs are so hairy.
Hey,
She was
guys.
such an asshole.
All right, Chris.
You guys are starting to bug me.
Yeah, no, it's almost that time. So, Chris, why don't you tell everybody how they're going to get a hold of you and assist you in your
Absolutely.
endeavors?
Well, you can look me up on Facebook at East Coast CSP, and or you can just find me on Facebook. That's Chris Backer, and I'm always looking for any help that I can get. I'm looking for any support because I need everything from buying bags to make the care packages up with, baggies to put product in, bread for sandwiches, butter, the papers for rolling. I mean, everything you can think of that can make somebody's life that's in that kind of situation just a little bit better. So if I can get gloves and hats and food and anything to make things better, that's just kind of what I'm shooting for. So just shoot me a message, and you can always get a hold of me also at Maritimes Unite for Medical Marijuana. mum.ca, and we're always looking for volunteers there as well. We've got a couple of bazaars going on. Just had a Christmas bazaar with a lot of activities. Santa Claus was there, and more vendors than we've had in quite a while. So it's nice to see them really kind of show up and show some of the products that they make, and a lot of handmade stuff there.
Cool. Drewberry's in the chat room, and he said everyone needs to have nitrotin. And
hey, give then Drewberry. You can hear this in about 8 seconds. Chris would like some donations.
yeah, some nitrotin donations. And the neighbor wants to know if he can send you a friend invite on Facebook, Chris.
Absolutely.
Oh, I already told him he could. I already knew what the answer was going to be, but I thought I would ask.
No, that's great. Thank you.
And on that note, Alan,
and that be that. On that note, That'd be that. We'll be back next week doing what? I don't know yet.
It's a Christmas special, Al.
It will be. I think maybe we'll look for. How about we'll put some.
I want Cheech and Chong Christmas special played.
Okay. Find me a link.
There's our music choice.
Okay. How long is it?
I don't know.
If it's 2 hours, we can play it in the background.
It's been a while since I heard it, but I know.
Do we have a guest for next week?
Drewberry Nitrotin.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Maybe Drewberry should come on and talk about nitrotin.
All right.
Yeah.
He's never been on yet.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that now he's actually can come on and talk about it.
And I think a lot of people would be really interested in what nitrotin actually is.
I'm dying to know.
See? Chris wants to know already.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to wait
you have
until
to listen next week.
On that
See
note,
how we do that, Al?
Yeah. On that note, thanks. We'll be back next week. Okay, bye-bye now.
Take care. Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
Hey, this is Cheech. And this is Chong. And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time. 420 Radio? Ooh.
Hang up and try again.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.